Okay, hydrogen refinement. Okay, you need about 10 acres of close to the sea. Then you're gonna fill that up with nothing but hydrogen tanks, big tanks about half an inch thick, maybe a quarter of an inch thick, but half an inch thick to a quarter of an inch thick. You're gonna run pipes from the top to the bottom, from each and every one all the way up to the front for the full 10 acres. And then on the top of it, you're gonna have a cork that goes in, and then it's held in by like it's like flip out and lock in with bolts. And you stick a big ass cork in there that makes it airtight, and then you bolt it down so it can't pop out. Then there's a hole drilled through it, and inside of that, this is the one at the front. There's a hydrogen sensor. When the hydrogen sensor goes off, it kicks in the one at the back, and there's pipes coming from the back all the way up to the front into a big ass tank with a compressor. So at the very front of each of them, and that's just a big side and a little side spinning, and it should compress the hydrogen because there's only going to be hydrogen to compress inside of that chamber. When the hydrogen gets there, it should compress the hydrogen. Then coming out of that is a air pressure tube that you can just shoot compressed hydrogen into something. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill the back one, and then when that one gets full, it's going to flow out from the pipe down to the bottom to the next one. And it's going to keep doing that all the way up to the front until the entire thing's front. There's pipes coming from every one of them. When the hydrogen sensor at the front goes off, the pipe from the back that runs to the hydrogen tank, then the pipe coming from the back has inlets from each and every hydrogen tank to the front. And when the back one's empty, the front one keeps, then the second one goes, and so on and so forth until you're out of compressed air. And what it is offshore, there's a pump system that runs into big silicone tubes with fresh water on top and salt water on the bottom. And then there's an iron bar going through it with copper wrapped around it and titanium plated in platinum, and like chunks like as big as your finger and half as wide, soldered onto it, going down all over it. And that's only in the hot saltwater portion. And then pipes coming off of that, and like in the bottom of the tanks, in the very bottom there's a freshwater reservoir that the hydrogen flows into and then dissipates back into the tank until it gets so pressurized that it flows into the next tank. And then at the bottom of the cork there's a little inlet. It's like a slit piece of plastic. It goes all the way through the middle and all the way through the top to the bottom, like a plus, so when it pushes, it'll push in, it'll let hydrogen out. And that'll be where the hydrogen sensor checks on to kick everything on for the compressor. And then offshore, like I said, you got your saltwater, freshwater, and that's your battery. And then you got titanium, platinum on, and then you got stainless steel mesh around the outside, but inside the water and the salt water, and that's going to make a whole bunch of hydrogen. And then that'll flow out into the tanks. And then once all the tanks are full, it'll compress it. And then once the compressor's full, it should shut off the flow from that. And then when it kicks through, it kicks off the hydrogen sensor. It'll also shut off the hydrogen pump out there. The hydrogen battery, which I don't know how to shut it off right offhand. It's got a power feed. You probably just want to have something that would kick on and off, like a little bar with copper connected to it from the reservoir that goes back and feeds back into the plastic. And then you want to close the salt water and fresh water so that it can no longer touch and create electricity. Inside of those tanks, you're going to want pump. All this is on the playlist, the pump. Okay, and then all like it goes from the back, second, third, fourth, fifth, all compressed in air, and then you pump that into whatever you want it pumped into, and there's your hydrogen system. You're also going to want a hydrogen reader at the point of the tank where the hydrogen is most likely to be at the highest concentration to show how much hydrogen is in the tank. And when that gets to like 10% is when it kicks to the next tank. And when the last one's at 10% or 15 or 25% or something like that for the compressor, that's when the battery kicks back on. And this is a hands-free hydrogen production system that will last probably hundreds of years. So good luck.